Hey there, Sog. Welcome to the Engine Room, your first JavaScript course. Today we are going to be talking about what JavaScript is, what it's used for, what are variables, how to declare variables in a JavaScript program, which helps us store data, what is a data type, explain the different sorts of data types we have in JavaScript, examples strings, numbers, booleans, and null, and finally template literals, which is a way to format text when printing with the console.log method. So let's get right into it. What is JavaScript? JavaScript is a high-level, dynamically typed, general-purpose programming language, which can be used for many things including game development, web development, and automation. But we are going to be focusing on its advantages in web development in this course, as it's great for making websites interactive and lively. What do we mean when we say making websites interactive? If you've watched our videos on HTML and CSS, you'd understand that HTML is practically a text document, which is the backbone of any website. CSS is the styling, which makes it have colors and other things. And finally, JavaScript helps add life to the website, which means it makes it interactive. Example, a normal square button is as a result of HTML. Making the button color red is the work of CSS, and making the button showcase a text message saying clicked when touched is as a result of JavaScript. This is called interactivity. Alright, now that we understand that, let's jump into JavaScript basics in S6. Let's quickly talk about S6. In ancient days, JavaScript was written with a particular format, but nowadays there's a new standardized way to write JavaScript code, and that is what is called S6, the sixth version of ECMA scripting, which came out in 2015. So in 2026, we use S6 plus standards, the modern way to write clean and professional JavaScript code. Great! Let's move to variables in JavaScript. Like every other programming language, there are some things called variables, and these are the backbone of your entire code. Variables are storage boxes that help store values in code, so they can be used later in some other place in the code. Example, let's say we want to use the number 5 somewhere in our code. We have to assign it to a variable like the letter A to hold it. So later when we need 5 in our code, we just reference the variable A. In S6, to declare a variable in JavaScript, we use either of the two keywords, let or const. In the oldest days, programmers used the var keyword to declare variables, but it was leaky and caused bugs. Today we use const or let. Const, constant. Use this for about 90% of your code. It's for values that should not change, like your name, an API key, or a mathematical constant. Let. Use this only for values that will change, like a player's score, a timer, or a toggle switch. Pro tip: if you try to change a variable's declared with the const keyword, the computer will throw an error. This is a good thing. It prevents accidental bugs. Alright, now that we know how to create and declare variables in JavaScript, let's go to data types. What are data types? You know that variables store values. This is where data types come in. Any value that a variable holds is of a particular kind of data type. Remember our example of equals 5 in this scenario. The value of 5 here is of the integer data type. There are many more kinds of data types that values have. Example strings. These are data types that consist of any text wrapped in quotes, either single or double quotes. Other data types include integers. These are whole numbers, positive or negative including 0. Booleans. These are data types which equate to true or false. Floats. These are decimal numbers. And null or undefined. This is when a value is empty or hasn't been set yet. Finally, let's talk about template literals. Here we need to tell you about something called functions. What are functions? Functions are reusable blocks of code that execute specific tasks, and they are always followed by curved brackets. We will talk broadly about functions in our next video, but for now we want to introduce a very crucial JavaScript function, which is the console.log function. It is used to display a text or message to the console. which is also known as a terminal or your screen. Alright, now that you know what functions are, especially the console.log function, let's talk about template literals. Imagine you have a variable of the string data type called name, and you assign it a string value of David. And you want to display the text "Hello David" to the screen. This is where template literals come in. We use backticks to create template literals. Then you can attach a variable into the console.log function with a text via $. In order to display "hello," the text, and "David," the variable. This allows us to inject variables directly into our text.
All right. We've come to the end of today's training. This is the first part of our series in the JavaScript Fundamentals course. Make sure to smash that subscribe button and share SOC solutions to your friends. Bye.
All right, let's talk about comments. You can see us writing some text immediately after to forward slashes. This is called commenting. Comments are text written down in the code, but they are neglected by the program. A comment helps document and tell a programmer more about his code. Watch and see how we use comments in JavaScript before we go on. Also note that we are using an IDE called JS CodePad to write and run our code. It's available for download on the Play Store or Apple Store. You can also use your PC or laptop. Just make sure you have an IDE like Versus Code on it and you have a JavaScript interpreter installed. Double forward slashes are used to start comments in JavaScript. All right, now that we understand comments, we're going to be printing the text, "Hello David, welcome to SOG Solutions" to the screen. With template literals ... first we have to create a variable called name and assign it the value David. We'd show you how to do that. First thing first, we have to create the variable. Here we would use the const keyword. Secondly, we would use the console.log function with backticks to indicate that we are using template literals, then attach our variable to the text using the $sign ... but before that. We would show you how errors occur in JavaScript programming ... We would wrongly write the const keyword with a capital letter C. You would see that the code will throw an error. This means JavaScript is a case-sensitive language. We would then correct it by making the capital C a small letter c ... The error you noticed is called a syntax error. Syntax errors are errors that happen due to improper structuring of your code. Finally, we want to create the variable called name with a value of David. Notice how we would use capital letter C. For const, this will throw a syntax error. And now we would use the console.log function with backticks and the $sign to display the variable attached to the text. Remember, this will throw an error because of the capital C. As you can see, it has thrown a syntax error, saying it cannot recognize the name variable because of the const keyword, user capital C. We would now correct it. Can you see that immediately we changed capital C to small letter c? The code ran ... so we would stop here today. Make sure to keep on practicing. Only those who practice are great programmers. Bye.